Hi there, welcome to I Lone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Capricorn energy, and we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because people have free will. Some people harness high vibe Capricorn energy, some people harness some more worldly focused Capricorn energy. Just haven't been enlightened to realize that life's supposed to be all about love. And some people harness some more shadowy Capricorn energy. So, whether you're a Capricorn sun sign, cross watching for a Capricorn, or just watching tarot, listen to your intuition because we all harness some Capricorn energy. So, see, listen to your intuition about the people in your life. Okay, so we're starting out with the Two of Cups card here. And that is being clarified by the Six of Wands card. So it's kind of talking about what do people align with within themselves, because we have our dualistic nature. We can align with our more high vibe Leo energy in love of Cancer energy. Do we love our more worldly or our more loving nature? Are we going to get out of our ego and not operate out of fear and insecurity and pride and ego? Or are we going to love our more worldly egoic nature or self centered nature or immature, indulgent, materialistic? The list goes on. So, I think the Six of Wands also can be about people communicating and people taking action. So, I think we'll see how different people are moving forward in their life and maybe get some communication. I think the high vibe people are aligned with truth and love. And then we have these cards all coming out. And the reason they're coming out, for one, is people, high vibe, shadowy Capricorn is represented by the devil. So it goes to show we all harness some Capricorn energy because we can all be in our shadow nature, which is represented by the devil, which means we have some more lessons to learn in life about loving ourselves and trusting our intuition and realizing that we deserve to be in mutually respectful, loving relationships with people. And if we haven't learned that, we'll kind of have some lessons to learn in our egoic nature. But because high vibe people have learned to not let their ego run their life and not make decisions out of fear and insecurity and pride and ego and competitiveness and jealousy and envy and things like that, which is like a shallow victory, and it probably isn't going to work out the way we thought. High vibe people have cut out some shadowy people in their life because, again, in a Leo card of the Strength card, they've tempered their pride and ego and their fears and insecurities. It's about emotionally, the feminines in tarot can talk about our emotional state. So it doesn't matter if people are male or female. Emotionally, people have tempered their more beastly nature. And they're inspired. We go from the Six of Wands down to the Four of Wands, which means in their tempering their fears, their insecurity, their pride, their ego, and things like that, they're able to let go of an old dream, because from the Six to the Four is the Two of Wands, and the Two of Wands was a way we used to view life. When we would imagine how we dreamt of our life going and how we imagined the things that we thought we wanted. But it's just like when you're age 15 to 18 and 18 to 21, 21 to 25, what your dreams were at 18 are different than what your dreams are at age 21. And at age 25, your dreams have probably modified some about, because you grow up and mature yourself over time. So we kind of let go of some old dreams that we had, and we're inspired in high vibe Aries energy to look at life from a different perspective in Pisces hangman energy, to connect in with our emotions and our intuition and our dreams and imagination of what could be. And it's about looking at life from a different perspective, looking at the world, ourself, how we view other people, how we view relationships, what we believe is possible, because our life is so limited based on what we think. And if we expand our perception of ourself and what we believe is possible, which kind of reminds me of that I don't know who said it, but it's like this quote that says, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you certainly can. You know, we manifest next week, next year, the next 10 years of our life into reality based on what we think is possible. And then if we're willing to put work and effort to walk in that direction to bring that dream into reality. Or, you know, we don't. So, what are some of the things that high vibe people have cut out of their life? They've quit aligning with those kind of more shadowy ways of being within themselves. And when we quit aligning with that within ourselves, the people we probably would have been hanging out with or how we would have lived our life and, the things we would have pursued, we're not going to probably hang out with those types of people or pursuing those types of things anymore in our life. So, the Empress energy in reverse. Well, that's non life giving energy. you know, in upright, it would be giving birth to something new. If you know people in your life who aren't willing to give birth to anything new, to step out of their comfort zone, to temper their fears and insecurities, to step out of their comfort zone, to be more bold and brave and confident in the world. And with the Empress card being Libra Taurus energy, it could be people who don't put in work and effort to even get balance within themselves. They either keep indulging poor behavior in themselves and poor behavior in others. Maybe haven't learned to love themselves, have a very worldly view of life. In shadow, the Empress is all about thinking it's just and fair to make your life about ego and image and money and materialism or indulgence of self. And in reverse, it can be extreme. So you're not aligned with shadowy energy. You're no longer aligned with that nature within yourself, which can just be our worldly nature. As we grow and mature, we get out, hopefully. Growing and maturing ourselves is getting out of our more egoic nature, and we're becoming a more mature, enlightened human being. And hopefully that means getting out of our self-centeredness, our selfishness, our more manipulative ways of being and our more egoic way of being. And you're not aligned with unjust, unfair energy, being out of balance, being in an energy of not putting in work and effort to have the stability and security in your life, to not act with character and integrity. And when you quit aligning with kind of giving birth to things that are more of a worldly nature than a loving, intuitive, creative, just, and fair nature, when you quit doing that in your life and giving birth to those ways of living life, you cut other people out of your life that are still doing that because you've tempered your more immature, indulgent nature. It's like when you quit being 15 and moved to be 18 and moved to be 21, you weren't hanging around 15-year-olds anymore, right? It had its time and its place. It was great and appropriate to be there when you were there, but now it's time to give up some of those more childish ways of being to grow and mature yourself more, depending, regardless of what age you're at. And there's other people that are still more aligned with taking action more out of their egoic nature. They want to keep repeating and giving birth to the same old things over and over. They don't want to give birth to anything new. That's what shadowy energy is about, repeating a cycle. And we'll keep repeating that cycle until we see the truth that it's time to move on from it. And sometimes we know people who want to keep repeating that same old way of living life. And it could be because they're either full of themselves and their ego nature, they like to be in relationships where they're indulged, or they're very kind of worldly or stubborn or prideful, egotistical, something along that line. If they're in the extreme. Otherwise, they're just like people have lessons to learn in life. Just like we can have adult children and siblings or parents, that just choose to live their life differently. And the truth sets us free. And when we get out of our ego about it, I'm not going to be in my competitive energy. I'm not going to chase after other people who aren't choosing to move forward with me in a relationship, being more balanced, being just and fair, and acting with character and integrity and love. I'm not going to chase after them. I'm going to not be in my ego competitive nature. I accept they've got free will. I have to learn lessons the hard way. They're probably going to learn some lessons the hard way. I wish them peace and love. But your foundation, you want to come together with other people who are inspired to be bold and brave and confident in their Aries energy from a place of love. And you've cut out making your life all about the world in the King of Pentacles, which I do view as Capricorn energy. But, high vibe, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. People who are so consumed with money, materialism, status, image, or thinking people should be in relationship with them because they think they're good looking, because they think they have social clout, because, whatever the hell they think. There's some people who think because I have these things of the world, you should want to be in a relationship with me. It's like, is it love? Or are you just offering me those things of the world? Which, the pentacles can talk about the resources that we have in the world. It could be our charm. It could be our social status. It could be our charisma. It could be sex, But it's like, is that what you're offering me? If you haven't grown and matured yourself, which is what High Vibe King of Pentacles is about, where you've learned lessons in life to get out of your more egoic, worldly nature and have grown and matured yourself, yeah, I'm not interested. And you might be going through a period right now. Underneath the Pisces card is the Two of Wands, thinking about what it would be next that you'd like to bring into reality. The King of Pentacles can mean a lot of things too. It can, and the Four of Wands is a foundation. That could all represent a job. Could mean an organization. It could be a friendship group, a family group, people you were married to, people you were thinking you were going to get married to. It could be all those things that you just realized you were kind of motivated and inspired by different things. So I think here you're looking at trying to think about all the dreams that you have and tapping into your emotions and your intuition to guide you and to move forward in an emotionally balanced, victorious way, aligning more with your Cancer energy. And it doesn't matter if some of you are a Cancer or a Capricorn sun sign or not. Up there on the wall, I have this zodiac circle of the zodiac signs, and Cancer and Capricorn are on opposite sides of the zodiac wheel. And I think we all can have lessons learned in our Capricorn energy because we all grow up in the world. So initially, we're kind of pretty biased to the world. And then sometimes we need to move out of that and learn lessons in our more emotionally intuitive nature of Cancer energy, because life is going out on all those different ways of being to learn all these life lessons. We all have life lessons learned in all the different traits and characteristics of the zodiac sign. But you also this can symbolize that you dream of moving forward and moving forward in your life victorious with people. The high vibe people want to be in a relationship with people who are in this high vibe Cancer energy. They don't have to be a Cancer sun sign. Just people who have gotten in the driver's seat of their own life. They've taken the reins of their dualistic nature and they are balanced within themselves. They're like firing on all four cylinders from a foundation of love. Not fear and insecurity and pride and ego and money and materialism and status and image is a driving factor. Wanting to be in relationships with other people because of love. And you have cut out people who either didn't know if they wanted to put in work and effort to be in a relationship with you, can't decide what they want to put work and effort into, who they want to put work and effort into, or they want to be in a relationship with people, but they want to be in denial that maybe that they're supposed to grow up because the Eight of Pentacles is Virgo energy. And it is about putting in work and effort to figure out, why do I feel stuck? Why do I think I don't have to put in work and effort? You might know people who want to be a marriage partner to someone who doesn't see the truth of who they are, and that will be willing to work with them in a relationship, being in denial of the truth of who they are. So if you know someone who wants to maybe be in a relationship with other people, but they want to hide the fact that, I want to be in a relationship with people, but I basically want them to do all the work and effort to make the relationship like seem balanced and successful and victorious. I just want to go along for the ride. Or I want to be in a relationship with someone who maybe indulges me in a relationship, and then I can maybe just focus on my work or the things that I want to invest my time, energy, and effort into. Or then you might not know some people who can't decide who they want to invest in, what they want to invest in. Uh, you are not aligned with people in their Taurus, Libra, and Virgo energy who harness it in a shadowy way. I'm more focused on image and status and being in denial. That's why I want to work together with people in relationships. I don't want to see the truth. Because, some people don't want to see that they're aligned with their more prideful, egotistical, materialistic nature. Some people don't want to see that I want to be a marriage partner to someone who doesn't see the truth, and I don't want to put in work and effort. I want them to put in work and effort. They want to be in denial that they think they should be this privileged person in a relationship, that the scales of justice should be tipped in their favor, and they should be indulged in a relationship. And then you might know people who have a lot of mental conflict about who they want to be in relationships with. And so then they keep taking action, I don't know, maybe in whatever catches their fancy, you know? Yeah, pointless. So if you previously used to be someone that was more aligned with, emotionally more invested in the world, you have become enlightened to the truth, because that's what the Hangman talks about. When you did make your life more about the world, or trying to maybe build your sense of worth and value off of more of what you did or the things of the world, what you wore and all that, instead of being enlightened to the truth that you're worth so much more than that, or being in relationships with people who want to be in a relationship with you for more worldly reasons than loving reasons, you could have gotten in those relationships and felt stuck. And some people do feel that way right now. And some people have already, well, let's stay with these people. Some people are in those relationships or were in those relationships, and they felt stuck because they were in relationships with other people who were stuck. Kind of, again, shadowy Pisces can be that instead of being enlightened to the truth, kind of being in denial. Isn't this great? Isn't this everything we wanted? We got in a relationship, it all could have seemed great and wonderful at the time. We put in work and effort to create a family and whatever, and we were kind of caught up in all these things of the world. We weren't really giving birth to anything new. We were kind of doing, kind of what the world tells us that we all should want, and we could have thought it was great and wonderful at the time. But then we could have found ourselves in workplaces or relationships with people who really weren't very mature, maybe, or grounded, or creative, or passionate, or inspired. And that's when we could have felt stuck. And so, we can put in a lot of work and effort to try to encourage the people we're in relationships with to look at life differently and put in work and effort to deal with the things that keep them stuck, like fear and insecurity, or pride, or ego, or laziness, or self-centeredness, or greed, or immaturity, fear, whatever. But we can't make other people see life differently if they don't want to see life differently, and if they're maybe in complete denial. And they might be people who just operate from pride and ego. Some people could have gotten in relationships with people and realized, sorry, I know it hurts, to realize that the person only got in a relationship with you because they were trying to prove a point to someone else. Kind of like using you to try to manipulate someone else. And then we don't see the truth of that initially. And then something can happen because we're maybe trying to move a relationship forward. and to get them maybe to be a marriage partner. And that's when I realized that they seem to not wanting to be putting in work and effort to make that dream come into reality. And it's like, I thought that's what we were saying. We were going to come together like in joy and celebration. The Four of Wands can mean like a marriage. And then the other person seems to be like, I don't know. I'm just like, well, when are you going to know? Ever? You know? And if I want to move forward with people who do know and have hope and faith and belief in their dreams and inspired to move forward with me in love, if you don't seem to know if you really want to put in work and effort on that, or if you're still focused maybe on someone in your past, well, then I think, we go from the Two of Wands to the Eight of Wands. I think this isn't the Six of Wands victory that I thought it was. And I'm going to take this back because I realize there is no victory here because you seem to be stuck about what your dreams are. And maybe, you're still hung up on someone else. And if that's the case, then I need to see through the illusion that my dream can't come into reality. And I need to move on. And I need to go work with some other people who have a dream that they want to invest in. Now, and some of you could have done that. Some of you could have had someone, after you went through all that, some of you, the person you had been in a relationship then went back to go repeat a pattern or go get in a relationship with someone from their past. And you saw, everybody's got their free will choice. Are they going to move forward with you in a creative, inspired, emotionally balanced, loving way and invest in the same dream as you? Or realizing that this dream isn't going to, that you're not going to give birth to something new with them? And accepting and tempering your ego about the fact that this, whoever it is, they didn't give you the job, they weren't the right candidate, if you're the one hiring people, or someone in a family left, some family member, if not a romantic love interest, wasn't willing to invest in it or invest in a relationship. And we need to see the truth of it. We can feel stuck for a while, but what they didn't know about you is you harness all these energies in a high vibe way. Sometimes when people don't move forward with us, if they're shadowy, some people you just part ways and nobody has any ill will for anybody. The relationship wasn't right. I think we're kind of on different pages. I kind of think we're kind of, whatever. The spark isn't there. We're not motivated by the same things. But sometimes, and the thing that I like to kind of point out in the readings is that sometimes you can have people who don't want to do the relationship your way, where it's just and fair and truthful and honest, and they act with character and integrity, and they kind of prefer to be indulged in a relationship, and they like to operate more from their pride and ego. And sometimes people who are like that try to manipulate loving people in their life, thinking they won't love and believe in themselves enough, that I bet they'll come back and be willing to be in the relationship with me the way I want to do the relationship, which is where you indulge me in my poor behavior, or my emotionally defensive nature, or my kind of manipulative nature, or my kind of prideful, egotistical nature, whatever way it is. And so, for those of you who didn't want to repeat that cycle, you no longer view this person as a just and fair and loyal and committed person, because you got out of your ego about it, that we can love people, but the truth sets us free. And you realize that if somebody who you thought was just and fair and loyal and committed and loving, and then they could have done something or acted in a way that seemed to be something to try to kick you up into competitive energy or cause you inner conflict, make you stuck, make you maybe not believe in yourself, because sometimes people who are shadowy don't like the fact that you love and believe in yourself, because then you think you deserve to be in a just and fair relationship. And so then they'll try to do things to make you not love and believe in yourself, to let go of your more loving, balanced nature, to let go of like growing and maturing yourself and knowing your worth and value, and let go of listening to your intuition and putting in work and effort to focus on your future and moving away from this person. They're hoping that you'll feel stuck and that you'll give up your dreams basically to settle for less than you deserve. And what they didn't know about you is you're not as worldly and materialistically focused as they might be. And you're also in the past, maybe for some of you, when you could have gotten in this relationship. We can all be in our more worldly nature and our more codependent nature. And it is kind of looking, you know, for this person to be like the energy of love in your life. Like, oh my gosh, you're like all the energy of love that I ever wanted in the world that I maybe didn't get from, or to the extent that I wanted with my mother or my father or whatever, you know? And it can, we can end up making people like that, like our whole world. And sometimes subconsciously we are kind of drawn to people who might have hurt us in our past. And they do, we don't realize maybe till later that I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was so worried about maybe not dating someone like my dad that I ended up marrying someone who was like my mom. You know? And I might have some issues, you know, with her, that person. But it's learning to love yourself in the Leo energy. Leo high vibe Leo energy is being in life-giving energy. I am going to give myself everything that I thought people who would be just and fair and loyal and committed and loving would give me, and they didn't. So I'm going to give myself those things so that I'm not in that codependent energy and I'm no longer attracted to being in a relationship with people who subconsciously remind me of people maybe from my past who I might have some unhealed issues with. I'm going to give myself all the things that I wish they would have given me. I'm not looking for someone to be like a mother to me, because in our egoic nature, you know, and we all grow up as children and we hopefully have caregivers and parents and people who fill that role for us. But part of growing up is learning to fill that role within ourselves. And I'm going to be my best mother, father, coach, voice in my own head. And I'm going to offer myself love and compassion for the mistakes I've made in life, because I'm a fallible human being who had to learn lessons in life and learn to love and believe in myself. And I made lots of mistakes on the way to get clear about what my truth was and what wasn't my truth. And I've dealt with other people that are fallible human beings, and I wish them all peace and love and forgiveness so I can be free of it. I accept that we're all fallible human beings, and I love me. And that's when you're firing on all cylinders. I don't need the world to validate my worth and value. I don't need someone else to validate my worth and value. I validate my worth and value. I have grown and matured myself. I can take stable, grounded, mature action in the world based on the lessons I've learned in life. Not to, I've learned not to keep, I learned to love myself so that I don't keep learning difficult lessons, because it's kind of like, you know, our shadow nature is represented by the devil. And we learn some really hard lessons when we haven't learned to love ourselves. And the King of Pentacles is like, I have learned to love myself. I have grown and matured myself. I take stable, grounded action in my life out of love and respect for myself, so that I don't take action out of fear and insecurity and pride and ego and competitiveness and envy and jealousy. I'm firing on all four cylinders, and I'm bold and brave and confident. And I have been enlightened to the truth that it isn't about like emotionally investing in the world, being in denial of the truth. It's about being enlightened to the truth and letting me being inspired to listen to my intuition and love to guide me in the action that I take in the world, that I'm going to invest in listening to my intuition. And that's what I'm going to put work and effort into to keep being more enlightened and continuing to expand my perception of myself and the world and what I believe is possible, because then the impossible is possible. Because me, in my own limited worldly thinking and lack mentality, I'm out of it. I freed myself. I emotionally grew and matured myself. And I went within to gain insight and wisdom about the things that were blocking me internally, my own lack of belief, my own hadn't realized I needed to love myself, didn't realize I needed to offer myself compassion and forgiveness and other people in my past so I could be free. Because high vibe energy is about being free. I am free to go enjoy the world, because high vibe energy, the world was given to us to enjoy from a place of love. But when we're kind of in our more egoic nature, sometimes we think those are the things that are supposed to make us happy. Like, oh, if I go get in a relationship, that's the answer. Oh, if I drink this, eat that, pop that, indulge in this, that's the answer. And it was to learn that the answer lied within us the whole time. And when we learn to love ourselves and not be in our codependent energy, we can go enjoy the things of the world because they don't have that stranglehold. We're not giving them that much power over us anymore. Just like we can give people in relationships too much power for our sense of worth and value and feeling loved. And we can give things in the world too much importance in our life, and we can become addicted to them because we keep thinking if we just did more and more and more, we'd be happy. Well, if we learn to make ourselves happy and love ourselves, we can just go enjoy the things in the world, and they don't have such a stranglehold. And so with those, if anybody was trying to manipulate you, they never thought that you wouldn't view them as like what you needed to feel loved, and that you would be happy and inspired within yourself, even if this person didn't become your marriage partner or was no longer your marriage partner, or maybe not having a marriage partner. And, you're investing in the things in life that inspire you and that you're inspired by. And that could be your job. It could be working together and investing in other people who are enlightened to the truth, who put in work and effort to listen to their intuition, who've gone within to be enlightened to the truth. They thought you'd be stuck. And the wands can talk about communication. You could have communicated either with the King and Queen of Pentacles, and the Eight of Pentacles, again, can represent jobs, organizations, the wands, and the Pisces man can be about creativity and imagination. You could be putting work and effort into things that they don't know that you're putting work and effort into. And other people in the world in general don't know. Or you could have communicated with people about a new job, a new relationship or something, and other people don't know that. As far as other people know, in their pride and ego, they could be doing whatever the hell they're doing, because they could think that you're in your ego wanting to be in a relationship with them and feel stuck. And as long as they think you're in your ego and wanting to be in a relationship with them and feel stuck, then hell, I'm going to go indulge in whatever the hell I want to go indulge in until I see you like make a move. And then if I see you make a move, well then I might pop up and try to stop you. Because like, hey, I don't want you to go indulge in anyone else. I don't want anyone else to be able to be in a relationship with you. Now I want to come back and, get indulged back in a relationship, and then I'll make you an offer. But so long as I think I have you manipulated, well, then I'll go indulge in whatever I want to do. And some people are kind of acting that way in a relationship right now. And the other person, they don't realize, is doing this work within themselves to leave this relationship. And they're doing this work because, we can get in relationships with people, and needless, we can love them. And we are kind of, because we can get into relationships with people because we have similar wounding. And so, we could look at people and it is kind of like, oh my gosh, I really viewed you as like love. And I thought you were the person who is going to be this just and fair and loyal, committed person. And I've loved you. But sometimes if we find ourselves in a relationship with people who keep not, they keep repeating these old patterns, and they keep never tempering their prideful, egotistical nature, and they keep thinking we won't see that, that they could be trying to get us to chase after them out of our fear and insecurity and to give up on our dreams, and that we don't love and believe in ourselves enough, and that we won't put in that work and effort to feel more grounded and stable within ourselves, to be more bold and brave and confident within ourselves, and to work through, just dealing with the confusion that I thought we were going to keep like moving forward in this relationship. And then it can be hard to look at life differently because that's what we were kind of putting in work and effort into. But then we're in it and we feel stuck. And there's some people that are in that type of relationship right now. And the people they're in a relationship with don't realize that the people they're in a relationship with are doing this work. And even if it's not another person, it's kind of like, the devil isn't like omnipresent, kind of like the divine knows everything. And the devil's just not that smart, It can just be people in their own egoic nature. Right now, we have this dualistic nature. The seeds of the knowledge of good and evil have been planted within us. Both aspects of that nature within us want to grow. That's why we have this spiritual battle and struggle within us, regardless on just major decisions in our life, regardless of if we're in a relationship or not. Just should I go get a different job, different things like that. Right now, the ego in some people's life is running their life. But then again, sometimes that can be mirrored in our reality. If our ego is kind of running our life and we haven't been very bold and brave and strong and haven't been doing this inner work, we probably did go repeat a past pattern. And we're probably aligning with some other people in the world that are happy that we don't love and believe in ourselves, even if it's just friends and family and coworkers or whatever, that are happy that we don't love and believe in ourselves, because then we're in a relationship with them and we're indulging them and whatever, and they might like that because maybe we have codependency, maybe we're fearful, maybe we're insecure. We all get to go indulge in whatever we go indulge in. But what some people don't know is their loving nature is doing this work internally. Because our more hopeful, believing nature is always fighting for us to get out of our fear, our insecurity, our pride, our ego. And eventually, if we kind of keep living our life in a certain way, wanting to be in denial of the truth, that's where we'll really end up feeling really stuck and confused because things don't seem to be the way we wanted them to go or the way we thought they were going to go. And that's because inside of us, like, the spiritual battle is going on. The Two of Wands is Aries energy, which is all about it's about the self. But if we're kind of tipped more into or more like immature or indulgent or me nature, there's a part of us, again, from the 2 to the 8, that doesn't want to keep living our life that way because it's confusing and nothing changes, and we're not like facing our fears and our insecurities and dealing with our confusing emotions. And there's a part of us that wants to move forward and maybe work together with others in a more, it's just like anybody who indulges in things of the world, you can go indulge in those things thinking, oh, this is living the life. This is going to make me happy. And then, it can make us feel stuck because it's never growing and maturing. I mean, how many things are you going to drink? How many things are you going to eat? How many of whatever the things that you're indulging in can you indulge in? They're not the answer, but in our ego nature and not wanting to grow up and mature ourselves, and maybe just not realizing we need to learn to love ourselves and work through some of our fears and insecurities to set ourselves free, we just go through this problem internally. And it's like, why isn't this working out? I thought this was going to be great. And that's when we start to think, maybe I should do things a little differently, and maybe I need to work on getting more balance within myself. And, maybe I have been a little emotional. From the 3 to the 9, we have the 6 of Cups. And the 6 of Cups can be where I thought it was okay to live a more emotionally shallow, superficial life. And I thought I'd be happy with that. But then it becomes confusing because, again, those things of the world aren't filling us up and making us feel emotionally fulfilled like we thought they were. So then we realize that maybe we got to do this work and effort to maybe go within, to maybe stand up to our more egoic nature and maybe start putting in the work and effort to balance out our strong emotions so that we can detach from some of those old ways of being and grow and mature ourselves and be more independent and be more self-aware of like why we do what we do. So it doesn't always even have to be a relationship is what I'm trying to say. Can be a struggle that some people are doing within themselves. But for people who are in a mismatch, or people who are doing the work together in a relationship, they're working together in this way. Someone might communicate with someone that they've been enlightened to the truth, that the way they were moving forward was going to be harnessing this energy in a more shadowy way. And it's like, oh my gosh, I was caught up in the illusion of the world. I thought if I made my life all about looking victorious and successful, maybe indulging in relationships with other people who viewed life that way, that life was all about the world and ego and image. And I kind of realized that, if I'm not working together with other people who are emotionally balanced and know their worth and value, they're going to work to get me to put an end to knowing my worth and value and being more independent in the world if they're not on the same page. And the only reason they might want to keep moving forward with me is to indulge them in a relationship or because of the status or the image or the money or the materialism. And if I don't stop before I continue on with those people, I might realize I made a terrible mistake. And I might need to retreat, and I might need to do this work within myself. And some of those people have been doing that. And if some of those people realize that the people they were thinking of moving forward with, have been moving forward with, aren't aligned with being bold and brave and confident and love, and they're not going to move forward with those people. And if there is people in the world that they can go communicate with, that I would like to work together with you and have you work for me or with me or get in a relationship or a marriage with me because I have been enlightened to the truth, that might happen. Some of you could have, if you've already went through something like that, you could have communicated to some other people. I've looked at life differently. I've grown and matured myself. I had lessons learned. I was a fallible human being. We can all have rejected people and hurt people in our life when we had growing up and maturing to do. And, pride comes before the fall. That's why some people aren't willing to do it. Because they're not willing to admit they made a mistake. or to apologize or to temper their ego. And because they could have done something that maybe didn't turn out the way they wanted, they're harnessing these energies in a shadowy way. Because shadowy people could have been in a relationship and acted out of pride and ego and weren't just and fair and loving, but instead were prideful and egotistical in a relationship or a workplace or a marriage, hiding that they thought for sure everybody would want to stay in the relationship because of the money and the status and the image of the money and materialism. The other people could have left a relationship and they felt stuck. So then they could have decided, well, I don't want to admit that maybe I was kind of prideful and egotistical and manipulative or bossy and controlling, which is what these cards can mean. Now, because I feel stuck and I'm not willing to admit the truth and communicate that I was emotionally confused about, I don't know, how to harness my ego and communicate to the loving people in my life that I do want to work together with them and that they are my wish fulfillment and I want to invest in them and move forward and balance things out and put an end to being independent of them and work together with them. And I've listened to my intuition and now I'm willing to go with the flow because I have seen the truth. And I'm willing to speak my truth and take action in truth and be just and fair. Some people aren't willing to do that. They're too prideful and egotistical. And then for some people were in a loving relationship, but because they were kind of hiding that love really isn't their thing, and being in a relationship more because of money and materialism and status and image, and being in a relationship for those reasons, and living a more worldly focused life instead of being like bold and brave and creative to give birth to something new, and stepping out of their comfort zone, they prefer to repeat this way of being like they've grown up with or something, and they don't want to give birth to something new. They don't want to have to kind of like grow and mature themselves and free themselves from any of their more worldly ways of being. They're people who are more about conforming to the world than being transformed by the renewing of their mind. And sadly, again, if this is any of you, I know it's hurtful. They could have, just like you could have felt stuck being in a relationship with them because of the way they are, they also could have felt stuck being in a relationship with you because you're motivated and inspired by different things. The things that they want to do that make them feel filled up is like kind of showing like how victorious and successful we are and what we wear and where we went on vacation and what we drive, and it's more about that. And other people who don't derive their sense of worth and value from those things aren't into playing like those social games of trying to manipulate the public into like how wonderful your life is. You'd rather actually have a really wonderful life, a loving, deep, meaningful relationship. And they're like, so some of those people were hiding that they really would have rather been in a relationship with someone who is more like them. And you really probably kind of wanted to be in a relationship with someone who's more like you. And but if you were in a relationship with someone who's kind of more on the narcissistic edge, who doesn't want to just tell the truth that, this isn't kind of what I'm into and I'm really kind of more driven by this, because generally, people don't want to admit that I'm kind of more like to be indulged, or I'm more materialistic, or I'm more stubborn and prideful than my current partner lets me be. So anyway, they could have done all these shadowy things in a relationship, being unjust, being unfair, being manipulative, not nurturing the relationship, not really investing in the relationship, being prideful and egotistical, maybe being bossy and controlling and kind of immature because they wanted you to leave. And some of you eventually did. And then it freed them up to go get in a relationship with someone who they thought was more on the same page as them. But I think since this worldly matrix that we live in, We come here as a soul to inhabit this body, and it's like, enjoy the game of the earth. You're going to have your dualistic nature. Everyone else does too. And you're going to not see everything clearly, and you're going to have to win the battle within yourself. I think life is meant to be about us seeing the truth and being enlightened to the truth, that it was always meant to be about love. And I think when people go off to think that they know better and that's not the answer and that's not what drives and motivates me, I think they're going to probably get in relationships that they feel stuck in. Because if they do get in a relationship, if they get in a relationship with another person who's motivated and inspired by love, because God gives people lots of chances to see the truth, if they get in a relationship with someone who another loving person comes into their life, well, they're going to feel stuck again. It's like, damn, how do I keep getting in relationships with these people? I want to be in a relationship with someone who makes their life more about the things of the world, or doesn't require me to be more tempered. I don't like to be more tempered. I like to be kind of more bossy or controlling or whatever. The same pattern is going to happen. The relationship's going to end somehow or another. Or they're just going to, for some reason, maybe stay in that one, just completely feeling stuck. If they get in a relationship with someone who's like themselves, well, now we have two people that are manipulative, prideful, egotistical, maybe fearful, maybe insecure, maybe bossy and controlling, don't want to see the truth, want to be in denial of the truth. I mean, those people, at least then, it's a just and fair relationship. They're on the same page. They didn't manipulate one person who does want to bring a dream of love into reality. They're in a relationship with someone just like them who's like, I don't want to do love either. I don't want to put in work and effort to understand why I live my life like this. I just want to be happy with being in a relationship, and it seems like we have all the things of the world, and I don't want to grow and mature myself to my full potential. And they both might happily or unhappily stay stuck in a relationship. And I think it would be kind of unhappily and feeling stuck because they know they're not facing their own fears and insecurities. They know that they live a more illusion of what other people have in the world, because other people did face their fears and insecurities to keep growing and maturing themselves and dealing with the fears and insecurities that bubbled up to feel proud of themselves, that they did feel, and that's kind of priceless to know that I faced my fears. And other people are going to do just that. And they're going to get in relationships and want to be in relationships with other people who are enlightened to the truth. So, depending on where you're at in the story, you could be one of the people repeating a pattern, and we keep feeling stuck and we don't know why we feel stuck, or we finally do the work within ourselves to temper our own fears and insecurities and be inspired to expand our perception of how we view ourselves in the world, how we view relationships, how we view the workplace, what we're willing to put work and effort into. Is it continuing the things that keep us feel stuck, or the things that are aligned with our truth and our dreams from a more inspired, loving, hopeful, believing nature? And if we have that, we'll move forward with other people who are inspired by that, and we'll stand up for ourselves, and we won't balance things out with people who want us to put an end to believing in ourselves and working with them, where we hide that we're moving forward with other people because we're living more from our mind than our heart, and we're working with other people who are doing that, and in our Libra energy we think it's just and fair. Or we stand up for ourselves and we balance things out with other people who've transformed their life and know their worth and value and aren't operating from their more prideful, egotistical, immature nature. And those are the people we want to move forward and work together with. because we're intuitive that if we move forward with them, we will get our divine inheritance and the justice we deserve, because everyone is aligned with truth and justice and fairness and love, and have freed themselves from their more fearful, insecure, prideful, egotistical, bossy, controlling nature to do love. So there you go, Capricorn. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.